Gotta love a soundboard every once in a while. Everybody, welcome. It's the Rant Network. This, platform for forthright, uncensored dialogue. And let me tell you something. It's uncensored. It is unedited and definitely is bold opinions. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Catch our little snips or grab the whole podcast on your favorite network, or you could literally just download it off our website. All right. We were talking about, no, not that.
Nope.
Crickets. Why are we talking about crickets? If you know, United Nations was created post-World War II. And the purpose of United Nations was what, David? Was it to bring unity in the world, to keep a world voice so that you couldn't have another World War II? Right? That was the purpose of United Nations, to be the global watchdog for every nation on the same planet. At least that's a fluffy explanation. I'm sure we can get a formal definition later on in the broadcast. But it seems that this body, which is composed of a lot of countries that subscribe to a 7th century religion, that the world doesn't recognize today, but we do.
Because it's a recognized religion. Let's go on. Don't say it's not recognized. It's a recognized religion.
No, the Antifada is a 7th century morph of the religion. It's a version of the religion. It's not the modern day Muslim group. It's the fringe group that is following a 7th century.
Okay, I got it.
Religion.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And in that religion, it's death to all infidels, but first death to all Jews. We are the gateway for their Antifada. And we are the people that are the cornerstone of how they divide and conquer. Mm-hmm. And they feel if they can get rid of Jews, they will have their Antifada. That loosely sounds hopefully correct. But, we're a stubborn bunch. But the world seems to pick on Israel to being a puppet of that order. Whether it's we do the right thing and are unrecognized, or we do nothing and get blamed for it anyways. It just sort of seems to be the only country in the world that's a Jewish state that's the size of New York City, pretty much, maybe smaller.
No, size of New Jersey, state of New Jersey.
State of New Jersey, right? No, that's close to the end.
Anyways.
You're
rambling.
I'm rambling. I know. But for whatever reason, now that there was supposedly supposed to be an agreement, they're going to return the hostages. We're going to start blowing the shit out of them. We're going to end up, with maybe leading to a 2-state solution. But Hamas had to disarm and go away. Take a guess, David, what the latest news is. We never agreed to this. We're storing arms in every country in the world that isn't looking, or we're not looking for them there, to come back in and do it over again. David, I know in the green room this morning, you were quite passionate about it.
Well, listen, here's the problem, Stuart. I mean, you kind of meandered like you always do, but let's focus on what it is. It's not the world. It's the Western world. It's the woke world. It's the people who think that, wow, we need to pacify these Muslims and Arabs and all these people because they're voters. They're going to vote for us. Or they're poor, refugees. They had it rough, whatever. And ignoring facts. Fact, there was no genocide. Fact, there was no famine. Fact, UNRWA is a terrorist organization. Fact, Hamas attacked Israel on October the 7th, 2023, murdering 1,200 people. Fact, Hamas's charter is to destroy the state of Israel. Fact, a majority of Palestinians are still supporting Hamas. A lot of facts there that seem to go unnoticed or nobody cares. Now, Stuart, my frustration is about what's going on right now. And that was yesterday, President Donald Trump had his resolution for the Gaza plan approved by the UN Security Council. 2 minutes ago, the UN is the greatest body in the world because they are anti-Israel, and as long as they're anti-Israel, we're good to go. But the moment that the Security Council said, no, we approve the plan, we're going to bring this international force, we're going to rebuild Gaza, Hamas's answer is, no, we don't agree with it. But you had approved it as part of the ceasefire plan. No, we don't approve. We're not disarming. Part of the plan. We never agreed to that. So here's the question. When you look at what's going on, who's awake at this point? Look at the Arab nations, by the by, who voted opposite of what the Western world did in many cases when it comes up to this area. Why are Canada, UK, Australia, Ireland leading the charge to force something that Arab nations are going, nope. This Gaza plan, they're not in love with it. They want to see it through. Where's the Western world to pressure them, to pressure Hamas and pressure the Arabs? Nope. Instead, what we do is stupid shit. And the focus, if we're going to, like, there's so much focus on the Palestinians. Stuart, this past week, in a regional area of Montreal, in Calgary, in Toronto, they raised the Palestinian flag because it's 37 years to their declaration of whatever they declared.
Mississauga.
Oh, Brampton too. Okay. And I mean, Mississauga, Brampton has completely gone that way. And yet here we are, Stuart, wondering, why would you raise the Palestinian flag? Because we're in solidarity with them. Are you really in solidarity with them? Because instead of raising a Palestinian flag, you should have been raising in anger, yelling at Hamas, conform. You agreed. There's an approval process. Get with the program. Nope. Instead, they continue to put pressure on Israel. The BDS movements, disruption in classrooms, as there was yesterday at McGill University and in other places. Politicians bad-mouthing Israel. We talked about Ireland and their stance on Israel, just on soccer. The Eurovision that continues to push this mantra that if Israel's part of it, we're going to boycott it. But at no point are Western countries, other than the US and Argentina and Czechia and a few others, all of them are yelling in unison, no, 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 it's Israel must go. Come on, people. Like, doesn't make any sense to me. Are you really there for the Palestinians? Because if you're there for the Palestinians, you got to get rid of Hamas. You got to. Because what terror organization can really help their population? We've seen what they've done over 20 years, Stuart, right? They took all the money from the world, billions of dollars, to build a tunnel infrastructure that even Israel had no idea the length and the depths of it. And yet, it's okay. We'll turn a blind eye. We turned a blind eye to Al Jazeera journalists who are part of Hamas. We turn a blind eye to you UNRWA teachers who are part of Hamas. We turn a blind eye to the fact that trucks were being hijacked by Hamas. We turned a blind eye that Hamas shot and killed supposed traitors who never even had a trial. We turned a blind eye. But all we do is not yell at Israel. So once again, the politicians, the Hollywood bullshitters, the artists, all these people who all screamed, we need a Palestinian state. We need to support Palestinians. Where you at, people? Because I ain't seen you. Those are the crickets Stuart had before. If you're on mute, buddy, nobody hears you. So there we go.
I'm on mute because I'm letting you speak. I'm letting you say it as it is. It's pretty clear. This is a people that was exiled from Syria, Jordan, Egypt, and in many other places throughout that region. They're not Arabs, they're not Arabians, they're not Lebanese, and they're not Egyptians. They're as close to being Jordanians that are now called Palestinians, right? They were like the people.
Stuart, the Arabs that came into this country, and I'll stop you right there because You're scrambling, bud. Stop. Let's get real. When the British took over in 1919, they did a census. Okay, at the end of the war was 1918. They got the mandate. They took over. They did a census. There were a few dozen thousand. I think it was like 25,000. It was like not a big number of Arabs there. Okay, it wasn't.
But
The migration, hold on. They were not even called Palestinians.
No, you're right, but they're not Arab. Okay,
no, stop.
Okay.
You got to stop for a second.
Okay.
Arabs, forget about the definition. Forget it. They migrated from all over the Middle East into this area because there was work, because there was opportunity. And that's how they migrated. So if you wanted to do 23andMe or any DNA testing on all of these folks, you'll be surprised to know that they are not from that little enclave of land, that they're from many different parts. Even, as you like to say, Yasser Arafat, who wasn't Palestinian. Many of them were not even born on that land. So if you go back 1-2 generations, it ain't them. So to sit here and to say that Jews were colonizers, I'm not sure that makes any sense then, because then the same people who migrated then are colonizers themselves. So if the Arabs or the Muslims or whatever you want to call them are not colonizers, then how could the Jews be colonizers? So this is the double standard that the world likes to play. And Stuart, that's the problem. The people who are screaming and yelling against Israel do not know the history, do not understand it, do not care for it. I'll go back even one more step. Every archaeological society in this world has recognized Jewish artifacts that date back thousands of years. But funny, can't find a Muslim or an Arab artifact that dates back more than a few dozen years. So it's interesting that's okay. Now listen, the Dome of the Rock, you're going to say, well, David, there's the Dome of the Rock. But here's the reality, people. The Dome of the Rock was built on top of the Jewish temple. This is a reality. This is what has happened. So when you're calling Jews colonizers, take a look again and who's the colonizer. Take a look again, who's the invader. Because watch what's going on in places like Dearborn, Michigan, London, England, in other places. If you don't, you're going to tell I'm a racist, Stuart, but this is the way it's invaded. They've taken over communities. They're changing communities. Look what's going on in Dearborn, Michigan. There's a rebellion going on there right now where Americans are fighting back against these first generation Muslims who've moved in, who've decided they're going to change everything to Sharia law. They want to get rid of Christians. This is how it starts. But let's go help Stuart, you're on mute. Let's go help these Palestinians. I haven't figured out how any of this helps Palestinians.
So the Sharia law is a 7th century version of the religion. Next, Arabs are Arabian, are not Muslims. They're Arabian. They may obviously generally practice the religion of a Muslim. And therefore, Arabians are not Palestinians. Egyptians are not Palestinians. Lebanese are not Palestinians. Palestinians are the mutts of all of the, I guess, Bedouins that were running around, and they're not even Druze or Bedouins.
Sure, but they're not. They're not, because here's the issue. Mm-hmm. Palestinians didn't the adding of Palestinian onto Arab didn't happen until 60 years ago. So right. To start all of a sudden, before 1948, they weren't called Palestinians. They were called Arabs. In 1964, around then, they said, "Yeah, we got to liberate Palestine. We're Palestinians." Where did this come from? This is something that over time it's been. You know what they say? If you say a lie enough times, it becomes the truth. Well, that's the greatest lie of all. And don't believe me, by the way. Talk to people who are Palestinians. Talk to people who know Arab history. They're going to tell you the same thing.
David, I can't argue with you on that. Do you know what that means?
Wrap it up, buddy.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining in. This is definitely a podcast where I was lost in space. And that concludes another episode We sincerely appreciate you joining and supporting us. It enables us to sustain this open, honest environment, exchanging authentic, meaningful ideas. Hope to see you next Friday. Actually, David will be MIA because he'll be MIA, and we'll be back and figure out something else to rant about.